Good evening, friends. Welcome to another section of interview preparation session, right? Where we discuss about various important topics that are potentially asked in the interviews. So let's start our session. The first topic that we are discussing about is about gradient descent. So, what is the difference between batch gradient descent and stochastic gradient descent? And pause for a while. In the meantime, I look at the answers that the participants are posting in the chat. What is difference between batch gradient descent and stochastic gradient descent? Yes, friends. Please post your answers in the chat so that we'll have this session as an interactive one. Right. Batch gradient descent. Right. So batch gradient descent computes the gradient using the entire data set. Right. Eventually, it takes time to converge. Because the data volume would be high and the weights are updated slowly. Wherein, in contrast, stochastic gradient descent computes the gradient using single sample, right? It converges much faster than when compared to batch gradient descent. The weights are updated more frequently, right? I'll pause for a while before I move to the next question. So the next question is, what are the various examples of sampling techniques? Like, what are the different types? As usual, I'm pausing for a while I get the answer. Come on, friends. I'm waiting for the answers. Do we have a various types in sampling techniques? What are they? And what are the examples? Right. So let's consider there are two types of sampling techniques. One is probability sampling, and the other one is non-probability sampling. Simple random sampling, stratified sampling, systematic sampling, cluster sampling, and multi-stage sampling fall under probability sampling. And convenience sampling, quota sampling, reference, or snowball sampling fall under non-probability sampling. Now, moving to the next question. What is confusion matrix? So, confusion matrix is basically a two by two matrix table that contains four outputs provided by the binary classifier, whatever the classifier that you use in the model. Four inputs from the binary classifier are derived. So, the various measures such as no, error rate, accuracy, specificity, sensitivity, precision, and recall are derived from it. All right. Now that we spoke about confusion matrix, let's talk about error rate. What how do you derive the error rate? For example, in hypothesis testing, how do you derive error rate? So error rate can be derived from this particular equation, which is false positive plus false negative by total number of positives plus total number of negatives. Now, how is accuracy derived? So the accuracy is derived as total number of positives plus total number of true negatives. I'm really sorry. Total number of true positive plus total number of true negative by number of positives and number of negatives. This is how accuracy is derived. Next one is how is precision derived. Precision is nothing but the positively predicted values. This can be derived from true positive by true positive plus false positive. So the next question is what is the difference between point estimates and confidence interval? I'll pause for a while till I get the answer. All right. So let's first discuss about point estimation. All right. Point estimation gives us a particular value as an estimate of the uh, population parameter, right? Method of movements and maximum likelihood estimator methods are used to derive the point estimators of the population parameters. Coming to confidence interval gives the range of the values which is likely to contain the population parameter. Confidence interval is generally preferred as it tells us how likely this interval is to contain the population parameter. So this likeliness or the probability, whatever, like you can call it as any term like likeliness and probability, is called the confidence interval. So basically, it is represented by you know alpha equal to 1, where alpha is a level of significance. Before I move to the next question, I'll wait for a while before you take the screen grab or note it down somewhere. So the next question is, why is resampling done? Right. Resampling is a procedure that is done now while estimating the accuracy of the sample statistic data set, right? By taking subsets, you know, which are drawn randomly with replacement. The sampling is done there, right? The other situation could be substituting labels on the data points when performing significant tests, right? And also resampling is done while you are validating models on random subsets, like while performing bootstrapping, cross validation. All right. So these are when resampling is actually done. I'll wait for a while before I move to the next question. The next question is, what are confounding variables? All right. Confounding variables. So basically, in statistics, confounders are the is a variable that influence both the dependent and independent variables. And let's see an example. For example, if I am researching whether a lack of exercise leads to weight gain or not, right? So lack of exercise is an independent variable. Weight gain is a dependent variable. A confounding variable here could be another variable that affects both of these variables, such as age of the subject. Maybe this is called a confounding variable. The next topic is to explain how ROC curve works. So basically, what is ROC? Let's first discuss what is ROC. What is ROC meant by? So ROC stands for Receiver Operating Characteristic Curve, right? So basically, ROC curve is a graphical representation of the contrast between true positive rates and false positive rates at various thresholds. It is usually used as a proxy for the trade-off between the true positive rate and false positive rate. Repeating once again, ROC curve stands for Receiver Operating Characteristic Curve. Moving to the next question. What are eigenvectors? Right. So what are eigenvectors? Eigenvectors are used to understand the linear transformations. Right. In data analysis, we usually calculate the eigenvectors for correlation and covariance matrix. Eigenvectors are the direction along which particular linear transformation acts by flipping, compressing, and stretching. This is what called as eigenvector. Now that we have discussed about eigenvectors, let's move to the next question, where we discuss about eigenvalues. So, what are eigenvalues now? As usual, I'll pause for a while. Let me check for the answers from the participants. All right. So, eigenvalues can be referred to the strength of the transformation in the direction of the eigenvector, right? Or the factor by which the compression or the flipping or the stretching upwards. This is eigenvalue, and this is a specific difference between eigenvalue and eigenvector. Please do not get confused between eigenvalue and eigenvector. This could be a potential question that can be asked in the interviews that you face. The next topic is cross validation. So let's discuss what is cross validation. We'll pause for a while so that I can look at the answers from the participants online. So explain what is cross validation. Right. Cross validation is a validation technique for evaluating how much what is the outcome of the statistic analysis, right? That has been generated to an independent data set. Where cross validation is generally done, where the objective is to forecast, and one wants to estimate the accuracy of the models, right? So this is where, and this is what cross validation is, and cross validation is used for. So yeah, cross validation is a model valuation technique for evaluating how the outcome of the statistical analysis will generalize to an independent data set. Mainly used in the background where the objective is to forecast, and one wants to estimate how accurately a model will accomplish in the practice, right? I'll pause for a while before I go to the next topic. So the next topic is regarding naive Bayes, right? So what does naive Bayes theorem do, and what is naive in the word naive bias? As usual, I'll pause for a while to look at the answers from the online participants. Yeah. So Naive algorithm is based on the Bayes theorem. So what Bayes theorem actually states? Bayes theorem describes the probability of an event based on the prior knowledge of the conditions that might be related to this particular event, right? Uh, so basically, this is named as naive bias because the assumption that are drawn from this particular Bayes theorem may or may not turn to be correct, right? So that's why this has been given as a naive Bayes theorem. So the next topic is regarding SVM. What is SVM? Right. So what is SVM? What does it stands for? SVM stands for. So SVM stands for support vector machine. Right. It is a supervised machine learning algorithm which can perform regression and classification both. So basically, if you have n features in your training data set, what SVM tries does is SVM tries to plot the n dimensional space with the values of each features being the values of a particular coordinate, and also SVM uses hyperplanes to separate out different classes based on the provided kernel functions. All right. So this is what as SVM actually does and SVM means. All right. So as we were talking about SVM, and also we were talking about kernels, right? So let's go to the next question, which is also related to SVM. So what are the different kernels in SVM? Uses hyperplane to separate out different classes. All right. So that is based on the kernel functions. So now we are discussing about what are the different kernels in SVM. Right. There are basically four types of kernel used in SVM. All right. So one is linear kernel. The other one is polynomial kernel, radial basis kernel, and sigmoid kernel. These are the four types of kernels used in SVM. All right. Let's call it a day. This is what we were able to discuss in this particular session about interview preparation. So yeah, so let's get back in the next session where we discuss further more concepts and further more topics. related to data science. Thank you so much. You have a great evening.